interesting film about weight. Heavy people, heavy kids in particular, fat people, big people, people who are struggling with, seriously. And and it was interesting and sad that the parallels that were drawn between what is accessible when you don't have freedom of choice, either because of time or because of monetary resources or because of geographic limitations. The
geographic portion of it's starting to go away, man.
It's starting to go away. But then even still, it's kind of like, we're shipping food all over the world, so really how amazing is that food? And who can always afford to get into the locally grown, let alone grown here at home? To here at home, you got to have a here at home to be growing at.
Word.
You can't be growing here at home in your one bedroom apartment with 6 people sleeping.
I've been quote unquote vegetarian for a long time, and it's something that I'm proud of, but I've also had this philosophy of if I kill it, I'll grill it. And that comes back to being thankful for what you take and realizing that something had to give its life for you to sustain yourself with this. And the times I've eaten meat are so few and far between, I've eaten meat at a couple of native ceremonies where it's brought and honored and respected. And another profound thing I saw was when my grandma's family, who are Chumash descent, and other California Indian people, Mission Indians, Californianos and Californianas, we had this meeting with the Sayaka Inca, some of the last shamanistic people down in Peru, and even though I'm hanging out with all these native folks all the time, rarely did I see anybody give thanks at the beginning of the meal.
Salinas is considered the salad bowl.
What does that mean?
The salad bowl. So all the it's just huge on agriculture and growing. So if you drive out through Salinas and Monterey, it's just fields of farming. And it's all lettuces and tomatoes and strawberries, and you have Castroville and their artichokes and all these things. But what people don't realize, and then they come to us and wow, you must get great product. And it's technically no, because all of that stuff that they're growing out there is for mass production. And it's for those that they're growing for the places like McDonald's and Burger King and grocery stores and things like that, which they're not concerned. They're growing so much in such big quantities that they're not concerned about the quality of it. They're concerned about feeding a large portion of people. So the product that's grown out there isn't necessarily the best. Their lettuces are flavorless, tastes like water. Their tomatoes, they pick them too early because they know they have to get shipped from here to across the country. So they can't be super ripe, you need to eat this thing right now or else it's just going to explode, this tomato. So they pick them way early so it could travel safely, and then hopefully when it gets to them, it'll ripen on the way there and this and that. And so it's really interesting because people think that we have that we're surrounded by it, but it's not necessarily true. So the ingredients themselves are hard to find. You have to go to these smaller farmers, independent farmers, that are we're not growing for all of those people, we're growing for a very small group of people, usually farmers markets or restaurants, and that's pretty much it.
The community garden here, kind of on the outskirts of downtown. You can see downtown over here in the distance. And it's a convergence of a couple major freeways, so there's a lot of commotion, and otherwise this would be an unusable space, but some folks have come together to essentially bring in soil and create, build planter boxes and grow organic vegetables, and there's some sunflowers and other types of flowers. We have tomatoes, peppers, all kinds of stuff. I find it kind of interesting that they're using this space, which would otherwise probably just go unused. And you really wouldn't know that it's here unless you kind of stumble upon it.
There's this farm, and I understand about this. When I lived in Los Angeles, I used to drive down to San Diego. A 2-hour drive I'd take once a week to the restaurant I worked at. And these family of Japanese farmers, and they were farming for pretty much like 5 generations. And they didn't believe in like buying an organic certificate. They're like, our standards are even far better than that. They didn't sell anywhere. They're like, we have a farm stand at our farm, you come to us, and that's pretty much it. Like, we sell that. And their labor, all of their labor, it was either the family or people from Mexico, but from a very specific town. Because the story was that their grandfather, who came to America to try and meet his own brother, ended up in like South America. And then he had to like basically hitchhike and do whatever he can to get up to America. And somewhere along the way in Mexico, he nearly died. He was just out, exhaustion. And he was in this small town, and they took care of him. They fed him back to life, and they took care of him, and they asked where you're going, and throughout their communication. And so that like town is like the only town that they get people from to help in their farming. It's crazy. And even like 4 generations later, that's what they do. You know, but it's like their stuff tastes better than anyone's. It's like I've never had like corn taste better than theirs, and strawberries taste better than theirs, and all their herbs, they're so small and delicate, but they have so much flavor. And it's just, that's what they do.
One of the ways they find sustenance is by bringing different members of the community together to participate in a monthly subscription. So they grow this food and then they deliver it to you, kind of whatever's seasonal. So it's kind of the way to have like a little share in your own organic farm without actually having to be an organic farmer, which most people either don't have the time or won't make the time, but still want to eat the food. So this is kind of one example of that.
This place is, I mean, they're very mom and pop, if you cannot tell. Like, all this is one lady's family, and then the young people who she chooses to hire. So they're very, very cool in that sense. I like it. So what do you want to talk about, man?
GMO versus organic food.
I have to tell you that I'm actually very pissed off about that today, because due to my breast cancer, I cannot have anything that contains soy products, because soy is very high in estrogen. And if you look at the labels, a lot of foods have soy products and corn products, and corn is a GMO. And the reason why those two are so common in our food, like everything you look at has either soy products or corn syrup, cornstarch, something that has something to do with corn, which both are bad for you. And the reason is because the government subsidizes those 2 items, and they're pretty cheap, so everybody uses them to put them in the food, and it's everywhere.